Holy armpits. Have you ever worn a t-shirt so that there's gaping holes in the armpits? Well, you don't have to live with it. You can fix it. Come on, let's do this. Hey Trinity.
Hey.
How you doing?
I'm doing alright, how are you?
Good, thanks for coming in today.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, the one and only.
And you've got this shirt. Tell me what you need me to do. How can I help you with this shirt?
So I got this shirt when I was a young teen when I went on vacation, and that vacation, it was just a really good vacation, good time with the family. So I want to keep it in working order, and as of right now there are 2 large holes in the armpit area on both sides. They kind of just started out as small holes, and I was washing it, and they just got bigger. So I was hoping you could just fix those up for me.
Okay. Okay, let me take a look. Set out. Yeah. So what I'm going to do with these holes, I want to kind of raise that and lower this, and I hope that it doesn't. If it puckers a little bit right there, will that be okay?
Yeah, that's totally fine.
Okay, and then let's look at the rest of it. So there's holes in the bottom right here. Do you want me to fix those?
No, it's okay. I think as long as I
get these armpits fixed.
Yeah.
And I might just do that one. That's getting kind of big. I might do that one.
Okay.
On the back of the neck. And then I think what I'm going to do, Trinity, I'm going to try to find a matching jersey knit.
Okay.
And then after I get this fixed, I'm gonna attach it to this seam and reserge it to give it some strength so it won't come out again, okay?
Yeah, sounds good.
All right, happy to do it.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure, Trinity. Thanks for trusting me with your shirt.
Yeah, absolutely.
How old is it right now? How many years?
Probably about 7 years, I'd say.
That's been married to my husband for 30 years. We got a shirt older than that.
Oh, well, I hope I can keep it for a very long time, so I appreciate you doing this for me.
You betcha. Okay, Trinity, that's it.
All right, thank you so much. See you soon.
Okay. I'll text you when it's ready, just like last time, okay?
Sounds good.
All right, bye, Fozzie. Come on. Okay, today we're working on Trinity's t-shirt. This t-shirt has some big holes, but she loves this shirt, and we got to figure out how to fix it. Let's do it. We're taking a look at Trinity's t-shirt. These are significant holes, and I'm not sure if we can repair these or if we'll need additional fabric to put behind there. So what I'm going to do is turn this inside out and put some safety pins in and see how it would look if I sewed it with, to see what I need to do. I can see that the fabric's rolling and it's torn, but I'm wondering if I pulled this up here, what would it look like? Let's put some safety pins in, see what it would look like if we sewed that right there. I'm going to put that safety pin right where my seam would be. I'm going to put a couple of them in. Now looking at this, I wonder if we sewed these edges right here into the shirt, not into the seam, but going into the shirt like a dart. I'll bet if I sewed that like a little dart going into the shirt, close that up right there, and close this one up, and then sewed it into the seam, I'll bet that would look good. Yeah, that's what we're gonna do. All right, I don't need to pin anymore. I'm gonna finish this one real quick. We're gonna make this a little dart. We're gonna sew it into the seam. We're gonna make this one a little dart into the, so we're gonna have 2 darts going down like that. Perfect. I like it. All right. And we also need to decide what machine we're going to use. I think the darts going into the shirt, I'm going to use my straight stitch machine, my regular sewing machine. But for this seam right here, I'm going to use my serger. You can use your regular straight stitch. You just have to use your ball needle or stretch needle and sew a little bit of a zigzag and not a straight stitch. I'll show you on the machine. All right, we need to put a dart right there. All right, I'm going to start the dart. It looks like the bottom of the tear is right there. I'm going to start the dart there and sew it in. Put some pins in there. I'm only going to sew this little dart right there until that fabric ends, and then that I'm going to put on the other seam. So we're just going to go that far for that one. This one on the other side. You see how that's been stretched right there? I'm going to put a dart in a dart. Crazy. We're just going to fold where that dart's going to be, right there, and right there, and right there. Okay. I'm going to do this with my ballpoint needle because I'm going through jersey knit. These needles help you to not drop stitches. You can try, this has enough cotton in it. It might be all right without a ballpoint needle. And you should, by inspection, because my chemistry teacher said, figure things out by inspection, which means as you go. All right? Try sewing a little bit of this fabric on a different piece, right? Somewhere where nobody will see and it won't make a hole. See if you'll drop stitches. If you're not going to drop stitches, you don't need to change your needle, but I'm going to change my needle because I want to. I'm going to sew this little dart with about 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. And I want to do it on barely a zigzag. But I am going to do it on a zigzag stitch. If you do it on a straight stitch, the seam won't give with the fabric. So we're going to do this on a slight zigzag. All right, I am not in love with that. See how it's puckering? I could either sew it longer so it won't pucker or do something else. I'm going to sew it a little bit longer into this shirt and see if that's better. I can always take this out. But it still looks like, I don't know. I don't know if I love that. Yeah, I don't love that. I'm going to do something else. I'm going to take that out. I back stitched here. This will be a good, I don't know how many times I've learned this. Don't backstitch if you're not 100% confident that's what you want to do. And baste it. Wow. All right. I didn't like how that looked. We're just going to look at this until another idea comes. What if I sewed this like a big frowny face? Okay. I'm going to use my pins to kind of pin that into a big frowny face shape and see if I like it. All right, so we're going to pretend our pins are the seam that we're going to do, so I'm going to pin it sideways. All right, let's just turn it and see what that looks like if I sewed it like that. We're still going to have this puckery thing over there and a puckery thing over here. I'm going to go look to see if I have any jersey knit that will match this color. I doubt it. Meh. I don't like it. I'm going to look again. All right, we're going to try and sew a smaller dart on here, just a 1/2 inch or so right there. Smaller dart on that side and a small dart on this side, and then we're going to raise it up. I don't know of another way. I don't have any other matching jersey knit. This has got to be it. But I am going to put myself on basting, and I'm not going to backstitch. And if I like it, I'll go over it again with smaller stitches. So I put a little bit of a dart over there. Let's put a little dart here. We're just doing what we can. Doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, we're getting it smaller. And then I'm going to turn it right sides together, see how this will look. All right, I think I like it. I like it good enough to do a tight stitch on here. There's nothing else I can do. It's not going to be perfect. She just wants to be able to wear it without exposing herself through her armpits. I just want to try to get this fabric with the holes in it. I don't want to sew. I want to get the fabric to be kind of, I don't know what the word is, unstretched on that seam. I don't know if it's possible, but I'm going to try. Now actually, I want to go do this on my serger, this next part, where I'm going to bring this up into the seam. And I'm actually going to add a little piece of fabric in here to reinforce this seam. This side that I put the darts in is tighter, and this side is looser. So I'm just going to loosen up one of these darts a little bit and open it up a couple stitches. Feels a little better. I need to find some kind of jersey knit that I can use to strengthen that seam. Seam binding is usually not a jersey knit. I'm going to go look. All right. We're just going to see if this will work. I don't even know. I made my own seam allowance out of an old gray t-shirt. Okay? It's a nice 4-way stretch, but it's got more spandex, less cotton. It's okay. We're going to use this like seam allowance and sew this on here and see if I like it. I can't do a seam binding with the serger. I'm wondering what would be better. Would it be better to do this and use a straight stitch, or would it be better to use my serger, which will secure the edges and everything. And on my serger, I could do a chain stitch and also bind the edges. I don't know what will be better. If I do it on my serger, I could add the fabric to it when I do it. And then I could roll it over to do both, which would be crazy. I don't know if anyone's ever done that before. Let's just try it. If I put the seam allowance on there and serge it and then roll it over to sew it, I'd have to use a zigzag, but I think that'll be okay. Let's try it. Okay, look. I say seam allowance, and it's actually seam binding. And I want to apologize, but it was late, I was tired, and I was just trying to get this done. So just pretend that seam allowance means seam binding. I'm going to put this, my little stretchy seam allowance, behind so I can see what's happening on top. I'm going to serge this. I'm going to go down into this seam a little bit, maybe 1/4 inch, not too much because, you know, but I've got to have something to sew too. Going to sew here and then down a little bit, pull this up. But I'm going to do it on top of this, make sure I get that in there, and then I'm going to wrap that around and secure it in with my straight stitch after we serge it. Let's just hope this works, because taking out serging is, nobody likes it. Nobody likes doing that. I started way up there where we're not having any seam allowance. And we're going to come down here. I know that my serger is going to make a bigger seam than that one. Let's see. I might cut off some of this stuff. Okay, well that looks good on that side. That looks good on this side. Let's see what it looks like on the right side of the t-shirt. Well, that is a lot better. Here, I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you on the other, on my straight stitch. Come over with me. All right, let's look at what we did on the serger. There. That looks good on that side. On the side with the holes, I really like how that bound up that edge. And on the outside of the shirt, looks pretty good. That's a little puckering going on. And there's a little hole right there, but it looks so much better. What I want to do right now is I'm going to prevent that hole from happening again. I want to fold this over and stitch it again. And then after I stitch it, I'll cut off the extra. Or do I want to fold it? Seam allowance, I mean, usually you fold it, and then you fold it over and you sew it right there. Maybe I'll do that. Cut this seam allowance, fold it, and stitch it to reinforce this seam. So we'll just fold and stitch it right on top of what we did before. And I do want to zigzag this because I want this to be able to stretch. You see how that stretches, the seam stretches with the fabric? We do want that. So we are going to zigzag. This seam is going to be a little bit stiff for a t-shirt. Hoping that you can't see what I did when she's wearing it. Well, it looks good. I'm worried about it being a little bit stiff because we've got, you know, a couple layers there. T-shirts are supposed to be comfortable. I'm looking at this little dart that I put in. I wanted to zigzag the edge of this, which I forgot to do. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. This one, there's not a lot there to zigzag. But this one I want to zigzag just to keep that raw edge from fraying anymore in the wash or something. I am kind of worried about this being too stiff. And you know what I'm going to have to do? I'm going to have to put this on and see if it's too stiff. I'll let you know. Yeah, this is too stiff. It pokes out in front of the armpit. I'm going to take this, I'm going to take the part off that I zigzagged. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to cut this off. It's not going to fray. It's a pretty good jersey knit. And it's just there to reinforce the stitching. It doesn't have to be a seam binding all the way around. So I'm just going to trim this about an eighth of an inch away from the seam. This will be fine. This will be good. Now I'm going to do the other side, but before I do, I have to apologize to Trinity for trying on her t-shirt. It's a very special t-shirt, and I'm worried that she didn't like me trying it on, but I had to. Sorry, Trinity, just wanted to apologize. I also see a hole right there. I'm just going to stitch on top of that hole with the seam allowance underneath it. See how you can see that hole through my thumb? There's a hole right there. I'm going to put the seam allowance down and just stitch one row on top of it so you can't see it on my narrow zigzag stitch. Actually, I'm going to do a little bit wider on my zigzag because I want to try to cover that hole, and I'm going to do a finer stitch. And now I'm going to do a narrow and a little back stitching. I hope that's okay. I like it. I like it. I like it. All right, now I'm going to do the other side. Same way. Okay, this one, the reason I'm fixing this one is because it's big enough to fit a finger through. Most of the other holes are small. When you're handling your t-shirt, sometimes if you don't know your finger went through a hole, you can make it a lot bigger. So what I'm going to do is, I'm just going to fold this right sides together and put a seam in it. Okay? I'm going to start up here, just a little smiley face, a little thumbnail of a seam. And the slower I start and the slower I end, which means, you know, you don't want to just do it around the hole. You want to go a couple inches above the hole and a couple inches below the hole so that it looks like it's supposed to be there. So here's another technique to sewing on stretchy. I'm not going to do it on zigzag because I want it to look nice and clean, but I am going to stretch it a little bit while I sew it, which means it will stretch back and it hopefully won't pop when she's taking it on and off. Let's see how I do. I think I caught that tag. Yes, one stitch. Mercy. First, let's see how it looks. That looks okay. I mean, we don't have that second, you see how there's 2 rows of stitching there? This is in the back though. I just wanted to get that hole taken care of, and I think that looks fine. This, however, gripes. I gotta take out 2 stitches and I gotta put them back in. It's good in the back, no hole. Armpits look lots better. I think she'll be happy with this. Hey Trinity.
Hey.
I know you're running late, so we'll be real quick.
Yeah.
Where's Fonzie today?
Oh, I didn't bring him. He's not doing too hot.
What?
Yeah, he's a torn ACL.
What?
Yeah, so he has to get surgery in January, so I'm leaving him at the apartment as much as I can so he can just chill out. Yeah, I know, it sucks.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's like,
Poor
you
little
know.
guy. Okay, here's what I did. All right.
Looks good as new.
That's so nice of you. That is
It
super
does,
nice.
though.
There's a little pleat right there.
Yeah, that's fine.
And I put just this extra bit of fabric right there. Mm-hmm. So it'll be stronger so it won't tear again.
Yeah.
This one looks a little bit better. This armpit looks a little bit better, but
Yeah.
I just took the seams out and then in. Now I would like you to wear this t-shirt,
I'll definitely wear it, yeah.
but don't put it in the dryer.
Okay.
Just air it dry and you'll get more life out of it.
Alright, sounds good. I can definitely do that.
But I was fun working on that, and I hope you like it.
I do, it looks great.
Yay,
Awesome.
thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and actually, I didn't schedule another appointment, but I have some for you if you're up for it.
Okay, bring it on. Let's see.
So, those teddy bears that you do,
Yes.
I was wondering if you could make this into one of those.
I can, but Thank you for watching my video. I know there was a lot of explanations and problem solving in this video, but I included that on purpose because sewing is often frustrating. But you've got to take a deep breath and you just have to try something else until something works. Remember, if I can do it, you can do it. Don't forget to like and subscribe. My grandma was an expert. She made my mother's wedding dress and clothes for her and I. She taught my mom how to sew, and my mom taught me. And I'm teaching my daughter how to sew. It's more than a skill, it's love. Welcome to Stephanie's Sewing Studio. Let me teach you how to do what I love.